This is the VOA Special English Education Report. Young people are perhaps better known for spending money than for saving it, but some new banking websites are seeking to change that. These websites offer young people the information and tools they need to watch over their money. These sites also let users share their financial experiences with other young people. Michael Ferrari developed SmartyPig with a friend in 2007. SmartyPig is really all about helping people save for very specific financial goals. So that could be a wedding, a vacation, an iPhone. Mr. Ferrari says SmartyPig began after he started a college savings account for his new baby. He says that experience helped him realize the power of saving for a specific goal. Helping other savers pay attention to their goals is the idea behind his company. Mr. Ferrari says his website also enables outsiders to add money to the accounts of its users. Perhaps maybe a holiday is coming up or your birthday is coming up, and rather than getting a gift, your friends, your family can actually contribute to any of your SmartyPig goals. A growing number of young people have shown an interest in personal finance sites like SmartyPig. These sites offer tools that help users follow their spending, set up a budget, and combine their investments. And the sites all involve social media. Janet Staubel is with the personal finance website bankrate.com. She says a lot of people feel at ease sharing personal information online. It's not likely that, you might go to a friend and say, "Hey, I paid off $1,000 on my credit card today." But people write up blog posts about it, and they explain how they did it and how much closer they are to their financial goal, whatever it is. Steve Weissman teaches about financial issues at Bentley University in Waltham, Massachusetts. He says the more creative the websites are in providing services, the more successful they will be in competing against traditional banks or even cooperating with them. For instance, SmartyPig. They are not actually a bank, but they are partnered with a bank. And what you're going to see is big banks and little banks that are legitimate financial institutions, but not necessarily the most savvy when it comes to computers or the internet. They will partner up with other companies that may be doing some of the web material and other assistance. For VOA Special English, I'm Alex Villarreal.
I'm Mario Ritter with the VOA Special English Education Report. Michelle Rhee had never led a school system before she came to the public schools in Washington, D.C. in 2007. By the end of the following year, she was on the cover of Time. The magazine recognized her as a national leader in education reform. And now, Miss Rhee appears in the film Waiting for Superman, a documentary about problems in the American education system. Ms. Rhee closed underperforming schools in Washington. She dismissed hundreds of teachers and administrators, including the principal at her daughter's school. She angered the teachers' union and teachers who were traditionally protected in permanent jobs. She said they were not doing a good enough job. She negotiated a new labor contract that measures teacher success based in part on student performance. Many of her actions were the same as those supported nationally by the Department of Education and President Obama. But in October, Michelle Rhee announced she will leave her job after almost 3.5 years. She said Washington's next mayor, Vincent Gray, should be able to start with someone of his own choice. Democrats in Washington nominated Mr. Gray over Mayor Adrian Fenty in September. People can argue about why Mayor Fenty lost after one term. But for many voters, one reason was his hiring of Michelle Rhee and his support for her aggressive reforms. Public opinion studies showed a racial divide. A majority of whites, but only a third of blacks, thought the public schools have improved. Close to 70% of whites told the Washington Post that Ms. Rhee was a reason to support Mayor Fenty. But more than half of blacks saw her as a reason to vote against him. Mr. Gray and Mr. Fenty are both African American, as are 3 out of 4 students in the District of Columbia public schools. Mr. Gray promises to continue school reform efforts. Ms. Rhee's leadership team will remain until the end of the school year. Her deputy, Kaya Henderson, is taking her place, at least for now. It is unclear what Michelle Rhee will do next. Shortly after her announcement, she launched a website, michellerhee.org. She says she will continue her efforts for education reform, and she is asking people to share ideas. She also says she wants to live closer to her future husband, Kevin Johnson, the mayor of Sacramento, California. For VOA Special English, I'm Mario Ritter.
From VOA Learning English, this is the Education Report in Special English. Common Sense Media is a nonprofit group in the United States that studies children's use of media and technology. The group has done a survey asking teachers about the effects of their students' use of entertainment media. Entertainment media includes TV shows, music, video games, texting, social networks, apps, and other technology that students use for fun. Many teachers said they believe media use has hurt academic performance, which in some cases was already weak. Vicki Rideout wrote the report for Common Sense Media. She said nearly 4 out of 10 teachers said their students were just fair or poor at reading, communication, math, and science. More said their students were only fair at writing. The survey involved 685 teachers from around the country in kindergarten through 12th grade. They included both new and experienced teachers and teachers in high and low income areas. 71% of the teachers said they believe students' use of entertainment media has reduced their ability to pay attention in class. And almost 60% said it has hurt their writing skills. Many teachers said they believe their students' media use has also hurt their social development. They said the biggest problem was that media negatively affected students' ideas about relationships between the sexes and toward parents and teachers. They said media use encourages aggression and antisocial behavior. Teachers who believed media use harms social development were more likely to describe themselves as uncomfortable with new technologies. For VOA Learning English, I'm Laurel Bowman.
From VOA Learning English, this is Education in Special English. Teachers say the digital age has been both a good and bad influence on this generation of American teenagers. More than 2,000 middle and high school teachers took an online survey. Researchers also spoke with teachers in focus groups. 3/4 of the teachers said the internet and digital search tools have had a mostly positive effect on their students' research habits and skills. But 87% agreed that these technologies are creating an easily distracted generation with short attention spans. And 64% said the technologies do more to distract students than to help them academically. Many students think doing research now means just doing a quick search on Google. The Pew Internet Project did the survey with the College Board and the National Writing Project. A majority of the teachers came from advanced placement classes, which provide college-level work for high school students. Judy Buchanan is with the National Writing Project and a co-author of the report. She says digital research tools are helping students learn more and learn faster. But one problem the survey found is that many students are lacking in digital literacy. In other words, they trust too much of the information they find on the internet. Judy Buchanan says these students have not developed the skills they need to judge the quality or credibility of online information. They also say being able to quickly find information online hurts their students' ability to work hard to find answers. Many teachers are also concerned that the internet makes it easy for students to copy work done by others instead of using their own abilities. For VOA Learning English, I'm Carolyn Pursuti. This is the VOA Special English Education Report. Congress is studying how to change immigration policies in an effort to get more foreign students to stay and work in the United States. Many foreign students come for advanced degrees in science, technology, engineering, and math. But many are unable to get a visa to live and work here after they graduate. In 2009, foreign students earned up to 2/3 of the physics and engineering doctorates awarded by American colleges and universities. Xiao Qin from Beijing is studying for a PhD in computer science at Georgetown University in Washington. He says, "Obviously, we prefer to stay here for several years, But if we cannot get any valid visa, we have to leave. So far, no agreement has been reached on how to stop this so-called reverse brain drain. The loss of highly skilled workers usually involves developing countries losing them to wealthier ones. Critics say American immigration policies are too restrictive. Representative Zoe Lofgren is a Democrat who represents parts of Silicon Valley in California. She spoke at a recent congressional hearing. While we once asked the brightest minds in the world to come and make their homes here, we now turn them away. Having educated and trained the world's best students in our universities, we no longer welcome them to enrich this nation. Some companies, including Texas Instruments, say it can take 10 years for their foreign workers to become permanent residents. Darla Whitaker is a senior vice president at Texas Instruments. She says, "This is not sustainable. It hurts our company and our industry, and it places burdens and stresses on our employees." The United States limits the number of immigrants from other countries on a country-by-country basis. Students from countries with large populations generally have to wait the longest for a green card, or proof of permanent residency. A group called the National Foundation for American Policy says a highly skilled Indian worker could have to wait up to 70 years. Vivek Wawa studies immigrants who start their own companies. He says the United States needs to change its immigration policies. He says, if we don't keep these people, if we don't compete, we're going to lose. We're going to become a third world country, and they're going to become like us. For VOA Special English, I'm Carolyn Presutti. We have transcripts and MP3s of our programs, and now PDFs for e-readers at voaspecialenglish.com. This is the VOA Special English Education Report. Electronic books have changed the way many people read for pleasure. Now, online textbooks are changing the way some students learn and some teachers teach. More than 175,000 students attend the public schools in Fairfax County, Virginia, outside Washington. Last year, the school system used digital books in 15 schools. This school year, middle schools and high schools changed from printed to electronic textbooks in their social studies classes. Luke Rosa is a history teacher at Falls Church High School. His students work on school laptop computers. He explains the idea to them this way. It's just like a regular textbook, except it's got it all online. Peter Noonan, an assistant superintendent of schools, says with electronic textbooks, publishers can quickly update the content. The world's changing consistently, and the online textbooks can change right along with the events that are happening. Online books also cost less than printed textbooks. Usually, it's in the neighborhood of between $50 and $70 to buy a textbook for each student, which adds up to roughly $8 million for all of our students in Fairfax County. We actually have purchased all of the online textbooks for our students for just under $6 million. Many students like the idea because it means they do not have to carry a textbook around. Also, they can write notes on their work and save the notes in their account. But one student complained that the internet connection does not always work. Social studies teacher Michael Bambara says the e-book he uses in his government class is better than a printed textbook. He likes the way it has materials for students with different reading levels. So a person can individualize their learning, and I can individualize their instruction. But the students also need internet access when they are not at school. About 10% of students in Fairfax County do not have a computer or online access at home. Public libraries in the county have free internet. There are also after-school computer labs as well as computer clubhouses supported by the county. Other school systems in the area are considering online textbooks. Officials in Prince George's County, Maryland, plan a test project next year. A survey showed that 40% of students there do not have computer access at home. We have a video about online textbooks at voaspecialenglish.com. For VOA Special English, I'm Carolyn Persutti. From VOA Learning English, this is the Education Report in Special English. Lebanon is a nation of many religious groups. Shiites, Sunnis, Druze, Maronite and Coptic Christians, Jews, and others share the land. But often there is tension and sometimes violence. Over the years, the differences between the groups have made it hard for educators to write a unified national history. An agreement in 1989 called the Taif Accord ended the 15-year Lebanese Civil War. The agreement called for the same civic education to be taught across the country. The goal was to increase national unity. But the effort to agree on one national history has failed. Most history textbooks in Lebanon stop in 1943, the year of Lebanese independence. The duty of teaching children about their country's recent history has fallen mainly on parents. That can increase divisions among the different groups. The Green Space School is an elementary school in Beirut. It is on the edge of Christian, Druze, and Shiite neighborhoods. The school's head, Maha Qasim, says these religious ties can make history lessons a source of disagreement. She says some lessons have to be changed to avoid arguments among the students. Syrian forces withdrew from Lebanon in 2005 after a 29-year occupation. A series of protests against the occupation led to the withdrawal. The protests were called the Cedar Revolution, but Lebanese schoolchildren may never read about the protests in school. A government committee recently decided to remove the words Cedar Revolution from the education plan for a national middle school history textbook. So, without agreement, Lebanese schools often choose textbooks based on the religion of their students. For VOA Learning English, I'm Carolyn Frasuti.
I'm Alex Villarreal with the VOA Special English Education Report. In the United States, about 6 out of 10 students in graduate schools are women. The same is true of today's young adults who already have a degree beyond college. As a result, the Census Bureau expects that more women than men will hold professions such as doctors, lawyers, and professors. Men had faster growth rates than women in going to graduate school in 2009. Still, women earned 60% of the master's degrees. That was the level of about 90% of all the graduate degrees awarded. But a new report says the 2008-2009 academic year marked a change. Women also earned 50.4% of the doctorate degrees. The Council of Graduate Schools says this was the first year ever that women earned more doctorates than men. The largest share of all doctorates that year, 42%, were in education, engineering, and biological and agricultural sciences. But the report says between 1999 and 2009, graduate enrollment increased in all subject areas. The fastest growth was in health sciences, business, and engineering. In 2009, graduate schools reported strong growth of 6% in first-time students from the United States. But enrollment of new international students decreased by about 2%, the first drop since 2004. The share of foreign new students in graduate schools fell from 18% to 16.5%. In other news, President Obama marked the new school year in September with a speech from a school in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. President Obama told students they need to work hard in school because an education has never been more important than it is today. He said, "The farther you go in school, the farther you're going to go in life." He also said this is a time when other countries are competing with us like never before. He said students around the world in Beijing, China, or Bangalore, India, are working harder than ever and doing better than ever. The president told the students, "Your success in school is not just going to determine your success, it's going to determine America's success in the 21st century." For VOA Special English, I'm Alex Villarreal. You can find our programs at voaspecialenglish.com and on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and iTunes at VOA Learning English. This is the VOA Special English Education Report. The state of Florida is home to one of the largest populations of Haitians outside of Haiti. The city of Miami has a neighborhood known as Little Haiti. People who live there keep close ties to Haitian culture. Young Haitians can learn French at the Little Haiti Cultural Center. Haiti is a former French colony. French is the main language used in schools there. The center offers the classes through a non-profit organization called the French Heritage Language Program. Not all of the students are Haitian. But for the ones who are, including Dominique Domond, the language has special meaning. He says, "My mom speaks French a little bit. She speaks French and English." Marie Domond is Dominique's mother. Sometimes he says, "Mom, I want you to teach me how to speak your language." Jennifer Linkletter teaches French at the Little Haiti Cultural Center. She says, "French is part of what it means to be Haitian, and the goal of the program is to get them in touch with their French history and with their French roots, and to be proud of that." Learning another language can also help them when they grow up. Martina Buissat is the Miami coordinator for the French Heritage Language Program, which is based in New York. She says, "The more languages you speak, the more you can share, you can work. For work, it's very important." The organization has also helped expand French classes at Boyd Anderson High School in South Florida. About 25 Haitian earthquake survivors attend the school. The students were among thousands of Haitians who came to the United States after their country's powerful earthquake last year. One of the students, Kirby Edme, says, "The teachers were very patient with us because some of us, we didn't speak English before we came here." Principal Angel Almanzar says there were also problems with lack of knowledge about the American education system and feeling isolated. Teacher Mathieu Dacan is himself Haitian. He says the classes have been good for the students from Haiti. It's like Little Haiti within a school. This is where they feel at home. Many Haitian students in Florida say they want to help their homeland. Kirby Edme says, "Every Haitian, even if they weren't there when the earthquake happened, I think they have in mind to go and be successful and then do something for the country, even a little bit, because when it all comes together, it makes a big thing." For VOA Special English, I'm Alex Villarreal.
This is the VOA Special English Education Report. Many new college graduates in the United States have trouble finding a job in the weak economy. But not graduates from the California Maritime Academy. The Academy is the only school of its kind on the West Coast. Students attend classes on the university campus in Northern California. But they also gain experience by going to sea in a floating classroom, the training ship Golden Bear. 288 cadets recently sailed on a 2-month international training cruise. The ship travels south to the Panama Canal. Along the way, it visits countries in Central America and the Caribbean. Vasile Tudoran is a mechanical engineering student at the California Maritime Academy. He spends much of his time working deep in the heart of the ship. He says he is not worried about finding a job. Robert Jackson is one of his teachers. He says the majority of the Academy's students have between 1 and 2 job offers before they complete their studies. He says most of those job offers are between $60,000 and $120,000 a year. In addition to working on ships, he says, engineering graduates from the academy also get jobs with power companies and satellite companies. Instructor Bill Schmidt says the situation for marine transportation students is not as bright as it was before the economic downturn, but it is recovering. He says most academy graduates are employed in the industry if they want to be. He also says the coursework is demanding because ship's officers are almost like doctors or airplane pilots. He says people working in the shipping industry have to make the right decision all the time. He says a success rate of 70% is unacceptable. The California Maritime Academy has a 94% job placement rate. Still, only about 900 students are currently studying there. Cadet Andrew DeTucci says the academy is different from a traditional college. It is a paramilitary school, and the students must wear uniforms. Andrew DeTucci is majoring in marine transportation. He says when he was growing up, he was always told it takes a special person to want to go to sea for a living. In his words, my favorite thing about it is waking up every morning and seeing nothing but the ocean on all sides of you. I get a thrill out of that. For VOA Special English, I'm Mario Ritter.